Prince Ian and Huiju's contract marriage is suddenly exposed to the public, throwing the palace into complete chaos. After reporters interrupt Huiju's speech at their former high school, Prince Ian immediately shields her from the cameras and rushes her out of the room. Outside, Jongwoo arrives and warns them that the media has completely surrounded the school. With no safe escape route, Ha-young and Choi-hyun secretly disguise themselves as the royal couple and drive away in the royal car to distract reporters, risking themselves to protect Huiju and Prince Ian. Meanwhile, public outrage reaches a breaking point as news spreads that the royal marriage was allegedly built on lies. Rumors accuse Huiju of receiving royal favoritism, manipulating the palace, and even avoiding investigation over the palace fire because of Prince Ian. Protesters gather outside the palace demanding that Prince Ian step down as regent. Inside Jongwoo's office, tension rises as he advises the couple to remain silent until the criticism dies down. However, Prince Ian refuses to keep pretending and shocks everyone by declaring that his feelings for Huiju are no longer fake. Huiju is stunned speechless by his confession, while Jongwoo silently struggles with jealousy after witnessing how naturally the two comfort each other. Back at the palace, Irang publicly humiliates Huiju during a meeting with the royal family. She blames Huiju for ruining the royal family's reputation and bringing disgrace to the crown. Prince Ian nearly explodes in anger while watching Huiju get insulted, clenching his fists so tightly that he bruises his own hands. Even so, Huiju quietly stops him from fighting back, showing how determined she is to endure everything beside him. At the same time, the truth behind Huiju's poisoning begins unraveling. Through a flashback, we learn that Ariam secretly confessed to Jongwoo that she had been working for Sungwoon in exchange for money for her brother's surgery. She admits to applying poison to Prince Ian's goblet without knowing it was meant to kill him. Jongwoo investigates further and discovers evidence connecting Irang's father to the attempted murder. Irang is horrified when confronted with the evidence and realizes the entire royal family could collapse if the truth comes out. The deeper truth about the late king's death also resurfaces. Irang confronts her father about the night the king died and admits she only intended to burn the royal decree naming Prince Ian as successor. Sungwoon coldly warns her that no one would believe her innocence if the truth emerged. According to him, the only way to protect the throne is for Prince Ian to disappear forever. As political pressure intensifies, Jongwoo is manipulated into siding with Irang against Prince Ian. Irang cleverly uses Jongwoo's feelings for Huiju, convincing him that taking Prince Ian down is the only way to save Huiju from destruction. Eventually, Jongwoo makes his decision and joins Irang, symbolically leaving behind the rosary he always carried. Meanwhile, Prince Ian faces mounting attacks from every direction. Jongwoo demands that he deny wanting the throne and even pressures him to step down from his regency for the sake of the nation. Prince Ian refuses to abandon his position or Huiju. Tensions explode when he catches Sungwoon threatening young King Ihun into signing an appeal against him. Furious, Prince Ian grabs Sungwoon by the throat and nearly chokes him to death before Huiju arrives and begs him to stop. After releasing him, Prince Ian coldly warns Sungwoon never to threaten his nephew again. Huiju later witnesses Prince Ian comforting the frightened young king and realizes how much pain he has carried since the former king's death. Through flashbacks, we see that Prince Ian overheard the late king and Irang arguing on the night of the fire and protected young Ihun from hearing the terrifying truth. Moved by his kindness and loneliness, Huiju finally understands how deeply she cares for him. At the same time, Choi-hyun and Ha-young continue growing closer while helping their bosses survive the scandal. Choi-hyun opens up about being abandoned as a child and raised at Prince Ian's residence, touching Ha-young with his sincerity. As prosecutors begin investigating Castle Group and the royal family faces collapse, Huiju becomes desperate to save Prince Ian. She secretly meets Jongwoo and finally admits the truth. She has genuinely fallen in love with Prince Ian. Jongwoo is heartbroken hearing her confession but understands her feelings are real. Huiju then shocks her family by kneeling before her father and begging him for help, not to save herself, but to save Prince Ian. Back at the palace, Prince Ian remains unaware of Huiju's decision. He only waits eagerly for her return, even hiding the latest bad news from her because he wants to protect her. But when Huiju finally arrives, she runs into his arms with tears in her eyes and hugs him tightly. Confused but happy, Prince Ian asks why she is suddenly being affectionate. Heartbroken, Huiju looks at the man she loves and quietly asks him for a divorce. Huiju begs her father to help save Prince Ian before returning to the palace with a painful decision. She asks Prince Ian for a divorce, completely catching him off guard. When he asks why, she coldly claims he has nothing left to offer her and says she must protect Castle Group and secure what remains of her inheritance. Even as he begs her to stop, she continues pushing him away, reminding him that he once promised not to bind her to him. Heartbroken, Prince Ian isolates himself in the late king's chambers and reflects on the loneliness that comes with the throne. For the first time, he finally understands what his brother endured while carrying the weight of the crown. The next morning, Huiju attends the royal council meeting and boldly takes all the blame for the contract marriage scandal. Taeju surprises everyone by publicly defending Huiju and Prince Ian, claiming he wrote the marriage contract himself and threatening to sue media outlets spreading false rumors. During the meeting, shocking news shakes the palace. King Ihun willingly abdicates the throne and names Prince Ian as his successor. Sungwon immediately questions the legitimacy of the decision, but Prince Ian firmly shuts him down while formally refusing the throne for the first time, as royal tradition requires. Afterward, Huiju chases after Prince Ian to explain her actions, but he accuses her of not trusting him enough to protect them both and walks away hurt. Meanwhile, Irang completely loses control after hearing about Ihun's abdication. Jongwoo pressures her to stop the chaos before the third royal request is made official, while Sungwon secretly prepares another dangerous plan. Prince Ian hides away at his private residence while ignoring Huiju's calls. Unable to watch Huiju suffer any longer, Court Lady Jin-suk urges her to go after him before the palace gates close. Huiju rushes to his private residence, finally confesses her feelings, and kisses him first. Prince Ian passionately kisses her back, and the two finally stop denying their love for each other. The following morning, Prince Ian opens up about his fear of becoming king and his guilt over the late king's death. Huiju reassures him that protecting the people he loves does not make him greedy and promises to stay by his side. Back at the palace, Irang desperately begs Prince Ian to refuse the throne. She reveals that she once dreamed of becoming a pianist and that Prince Ian had been her first love before her father forced her into becoming crown princess. Still, Prince Ian refuses to back down and vows to protect his nephew properly from now on. On the day Prince Ian is expected to officially accept the throne, Huiju proudly supports him, while Ihun tearfully admits to Irang that he knew the truth about the late king's final wishes all along. At the same time, Jongwoo mysteriously delays heading to the council hall while Sungwon acts strangely calm. Moments later, a massive explosion tears through the council hall with Prince Ian still inside. Huiju runs toward the chaos and horror as Haeyoung confirms her worst fear. Prince Ian was caught in the blast while Sungwon watches with satisfaction. Following the shocking explosion inside the council hall, the truth behind Prince Ian's presence there is finally revealed. Before the ceremony, he had received a message from Jongwoo asking to meet privately. At the same time, Haeyoung was sent away to escort King Ihun to the throne hall, leaving Prince Ian alone when the explosion suddenly tore through the building. As flames consume the hall, Huiju ignores everyone's warnings and rushes inside to save her husband. Prince Ian hears her desperately calling his name while trapped beneath the rubble, but he loses consciousness before he can stop her from risking her life for him. Refusing to give up, Huiju struggles to drag him out of the fire until Choi Hyun arrives and helps carry the prince to safety. The terrifying incident leaves the entire palace shaken. Irang panics after hearing about the explosion, while young King Yoon breaks down in tears, terrified that he is about to lose another family member. Meanwhile, Prince Ian falls into a mild coma, forcing Huiju to move him into their private chambers where she personally watches over him day and night instead of leaving him vulnerable at the hospital. As Huiju stays by his bedside, Jongwoo arrives pretending to be concerned, but his strange behavior only deepens her suspicions. Haeyoung later confirms that Prince Ian had gone to the council hall specifically to meet Jongwoo, causing Huiju to quietly question whether he may somehow be connected to the explosion. Outside the palace, rumors spread rapidly that Prince Ian has died from his injuries, causing nationwide panic. While De-young and Taeju desperately try contacting Huiju, she ignores everyone and focuses only on protecting her husband. At the same time, Jongwoo refuses to release any official statement until Prince Ian wakes up, making the political atmosphere even more tense. Determined to uncover the truth, Huiju launches her own investigation into the explosion. She orders her staff to investigate everyone who entered the council hall over the past month and personally confronts Irang to gain permission to investigate the royal staff as well. This time, Huiju no longer hides her suspicions and openly challenges Irang, even pouring out the tea served to her as a warning that she no longer trusts anyone inside the palace. Meanwhile, Jongwoo secretly pressures Irang to become the next regent if Prince Ian dies. But everything changes when the prince suddenly wakes up and returns to the palace alive. Huiju rushes into his arms the moment she hears the news, unable to hide her relief as he apologizes for making her worry. However, while Prince Ian recovers, Jongwoo secretly contacts Sungwon and orders him to clean up any remaining evidence now that the prince has survived. Around the same time, Irang finally learns the horrifying truth that Sungwon himself ordered the gas explosion inside the council hall. Realizing how dangerous her father truly is, she decides to betray him in order to protect Iyun and the crown. Irang later confesses everything to Prince Ian, handing over evidence of Sungwon's crimes and begging him to spare her son from punishment. Although Prince Ian warns her about the consequences of her actions, she accepts whatever punishment awaits her as long as Iyun remains safe. At the same time, Huiju directly confronts Jongwoo during a hunting ceremony, subtly accusing him of manipulating the investigation and questioning the suspiciously fast arrest of a royal guard blamed for the fire. Her distrust toward him continues growing stronger, especially as Prince Ian remains conflicted about whether he can still trust his longtime friend. The palace is thrown into chaos once Sungwon is finally arrested and his crimes become public knowledge. The revelation shocks the nation and completely changes the balance of power inside the royal family. Irang tearfully tells Iyun to rely on Prince Ian from now on whenever he feels afraid, finally accepting that her son's safety lies in his uncle's hands. Prince Ian later meets Sungwon in prison and coldly informs him that Irang personally turned him in. He makes it clear that Irang and Iyun's future now depends entirely on whether Sungwon truly repents for everything he has done. Meanwhile, Jongwoo desperately tries convincing the cabinet to stop Prince Ian from carrying out his shocking future plans for the monarchy. During a private conversation with Jongwoo, Huiju realizes they are no longer allies after he continues defending his actions in the name of protecting the nation. She openly declares that they now stand on opposing sides. As political tensions continue rising and the palace struggles to recover from betrayal, murder attempts, and conspiracies, Prince Ian finally accepts the throne. In a breathtaking royal ceremony witnessed by the entire nation, he officially ascends as king, beginning a new era that promises both hope and dangerous uncertainty for the future of the monarchy. The final chapter begins with a shocking announcement that leaves the entire royal court speechless. Ian reveals that his very first decision as king will be abolishing the monarchy completely. While politicians, royal family members, and powerful elites panic over losing their influence, Huiju stands firmly beside him and supports his decision despite knowing how dangerous the situation could become. The cabinet immediately starts fighting back. Jongwoo tries everything possible to block the plan by preventing a public survey and even cutting off financial support to the palace. However, Huiju refuses to let Ian struggle alone and personally steps in to handle the palace expenses until things stabilize. At the same time, Jongwoo retaliates by launching investigations into Castle Group's finances, hoping to pressure Huiju's family into abandoning the king. Instead of turning against her, Huiju's family surprisingly chooses to support her for the first time. Taeju secretly exposes the cabinet's abuse of power to the media, while Hyun-guk warns Huiju not to fall for Jongwoo's schemes. Even though Huiju is surprised by their loyalty, she quietly admits that she likes finally having her family on her side. Meanwhile, Irang visits her father in prison to officially cut ties with him and start over as a better parent for Iyun. During the visit, she learns a horrifying truth. Jongwoo knew about the deadly gas explosion and intentionally used it to lure Prince Ian into danger. Later, Jongwoo personally threatens Irang, demanding that she oppose the abolition of the monarchy during the royal family meeting. He blackmails her by threatening to expose the hidden royal decree involving her son if she refuses to cooperate. Jongwoo also openly admits that he attempted to kill Prince Ian and has no intention of stopping. Realizing how dangerous he truly is, Irang secretly records his confession and eventually hands it over to Huiju. Although devastated that her suspicions were correct all along, Huiju decides she will personally confront him because it will hurt him the most coming from her. During a heated royal family meeting, tensions finally explode. Ian challenges everyone by exposing the selfish reasons they want to keep the monarchy alive, while Jongwoo argues that the crown represents more than money and power. Before things can escalate further, Huiju interrupts the meeting and publicly reveals Jongwoo's crimes by playing the recording for everyone to hear. Some members attempt to defend him, but Ian warns that anyone protecting him will be treated as an accomplice. Even after being exposed, Jongwoo shamelessly blames Ian for everything and admits that his obsession with Huiju drove him to attempt murder. Ian calmly destroys his argument by reminding him that Huiju was never something he owned in the first place. Moments later, the police arrive and arrest Zhongwu, finally ending his reign of manipulation and betrayal. Although deeply hurt by the betrayal of someone close to him, Ian finds comfort in Huiju's unwavering support. With Zhongwu gone, Ian proceeds with the nationwide public vote. In the end, the people choose to end the monarchy, and Ian honors their wishes without hesitation. He peacefully gives up the throne and officially stops being recognized as king, choosing instead to live simply as Li Ian. 3 years later, everyone has moved forward with their lives. Huiju returns to Castle Beauty and becomes even more involved in the family business after Taeju temporarily steps away for paternity leave. Her father finally begins treating her with respect and promises to support her future as long as she proves herself capable. Ian spends his new life discovering who he really is outside the palace while continuing to stay close to Huiju despite her busy schedule. Their relationship remains strong, playful, and deeply loving. He even considers proposing properly again with a wedding ring, though Huiju jokingly questions whether they really need one. Still, their love for each other is stronger than ever. Elsewhere, Irang focuses on becoming a loving and supportive mother for Iyun, encouraging him to discover new hobbies and dreams. Ian also quietly helps by gifting Iyun a violin, showing how much he still cares about the family. In the final moments, Ian visits the royal exhibition and realizes he feels completely at peace after letting go of the crown and the burdens that came with it. The story ends with Ian and Huiju happily attending a baseball game together. When the kiss cam lands on them, they share a sweet kiss without worrying about royal rules, public image, or palace traditions anymore. Finally free to live and love however they want.